started, I wanted to welcome everybody. Good morning and happy Tuesday to our back to school webinar at Excel Academy. We're thrilled to be able to have the opportunity to have our various departments present to you all about Excel Academy, what we do, answer some clarifying questions for you. If you don't mind working in the chat box to post any questions that you may have throughout the presentation, we have a few of our administration that will be monitoring the chat box as we go through the webinar. So please feel free to take the opportunity to write your questions in the chat box, and we'll be happy to answer them throughout the webinar and at the end of the webinar. So the opportunity will be, everybody's questions will be answered by the end, and the administration will also stay on to answer any questions for as long as needed. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If we want to go to the next slide. I want to introduce myself. My name is Heidi Gaska, and I am the Executive Director at Excel Academy. And I'm thrilled to welcome you to the 2019-2020 school year. I want to tell you a little bit about Excel Academy and how we pride ourselves in all we do in our operations every day to work with students and parents and their homeschooling and independent study journey. We are an independent study charter school, and we offer personalized learning plans for each student. And what that means is we truly look at the needs of each individual student, where they are in their academic path, their emotional, their social learning path, their passions for the arts, athletics, or various things that we can help them pursue with a personalized learning plan. I'm thrilled to announce that our school just received authorization to continue for an additional 5 years in 2 different school districts. And we will be chartered in Warner Unified School District out of San Diego County, allowing us to serve Orange County, Riverside, San Diego, all the counties that touch San Diego County. And we are also chartered in Hellendale School District, which is out in San Bernardino County, which allows us to serve all of San Bernardino and Los Angeles County. We're thrilled that our authorizations were approved to be extended through 2024, which was a very exciting opportunity that we were granted, especially in this charter climate, to have our charters renewed and be able to be established through 2024. Based on this authorization, we work very hard to continue our school built on integrity, accountability, and a love for learning. We truly, truly care about what each student is doing, and we work very hard to look carefully at what's going to help them most succeed and progress through the grade level that they're in. We are WASC accredited, which is a big accomplishment for our school. And it's a seal that is not easily granted for schools. They have to go through a very rigorous process, and they are evaluated through self-studies and through a first interim, and then they're granted 3 to 6 years accreditation. And we are thrilled that we are WASC accredited for 6 years, and we will have various visits to hold us to the high academic standards in order to receive that seal on all of our documentation and our transcripts. And it's basically a very rigorous process that just distinguishes us as a solid, top-notch public charter school. One of the big goals of Excel Academy this year that you'll learn about throughout this presentation is that we are incredibly community-oriented. My goal at Excel is that we have established small communities throughout the various regions that we serve. It's tricky being a virtual school, and my desire is to connect families in their communities and their regions, and so that the parents and the students have a built-in support system for other people on a similar path and journey of schooling. My desire is to create small structures throughout the various regions where kids can meet up and be excited, parents can connect, which you'll learn about the possibilities and the opportunities to do that in future slides regarding our Parent Square, which is going to be our new parent communication app. In order for the parents to connect, we're going to have various community events. We have our regional community events that are sponsored in addition to our field trips in the community. And we're very, very excited to have all the students connect and the families there to support one another. So I'm going to turn it over to our admissions, and you'll learn more about the forms that you will receive or have received through the portal.
Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Hansen. As Heidi said, I run admissions along with many other things. So if you complete an application, you probably have heard from me. I just wanted to quickly go over some of the forms that you have received or will receive, just so that you're not caught off guard and that you know what all of these mean. So from your teacher, you've probably already received your family vendor agreement, your master agreement, and acknowledgement of responsibilities. If you have not received those, you can go ahead and talk to your teacher of record and they'll send those out to you. Pretty soon in the next week or so, we'll be sending out a back to school packet. This packet is sent out every year and it just has a few documents that we're required to send out and get signed every year. This is required by the state of California so that our charter can be above board and remain in compliance. So if you see some documents, if you're with us last year and you see some of the same things, just know that we need to collect them on a yearly basis. So that's why we have these documents. So the first one will be the household household data collection form, which will essentially have you put in your how many people are in your family and the annual income you receive. This is something that every public school has to obtain from families. So even though you completed it last year, the year before, we just need to collect this every year. This year you'll be completing it in your parent portal. We'll be sending out those logins soon as well, so you can simply type it into to the portal, and so it won't really essentially be coming through on this packet. It'll be very confidential. So you'll be receiving a kind of acknowledgement form through the packet that says, I have submit my household data collection form through the parent portal. You'll also receive a residency declaration if you're a returning parent, if you're a returning family. If you are a new student or have a new student, you will not receive this, as we got your proof of residency this year and it was up to date. So this just declares where you are residing and that it's still within the counties that we service. With your student handbook, parent student handbook will also send out a student handbook acknowledgement, acknowledging that you've read it and understood what's in it. There'll also be an assessment acknowledgement, acknowledging the assessments that will be occurring throughout the year, and that we expect our students to take. There are a few documents in here that will not be on the packet. This uniform complaint and professional boundaries. These forms will not be in the packet. It was decided recently. These forms are going to be, this information is going to be in the student parent handbook, so you can disregard those two. There's going to be a parent proctoring policy, which essentially goes over how you as the parent need to be proctoring your student when it comes to the iReady assessments at home, what counts as appropriate helping your student and what is not appropriate, and what we allow, what's considered cheating and not cheating. And then for 7th graders, the California is having us send out the diabetes type 2 sheet. So only parents of 7th graders will receive this. It's just some information about diabetes type 2. So that's mostly what's going to be sent out. It'll be through a DocuSign. So you'll click on sign. It'll just be this kind of run of forms that you just have to click to sign. It'll be very quick. If you have any questions, you can always email me. It'll be sent through my email, so you can just reply to that and ask me any questions. There will be one packet sent out per student. It will not be per family. So if you have 3 students in Excel Academy, you'll receive 3 packets, so that your student's name can be on each one of the packets. So that is it on the forms you will receive.
All right, hi, my name is Krista Nick, and I'm the Assistant Director of Education. So I wear a lot of different hats, but basically TK through 8 is my realm. So anything to do with that as far as curriculum, overseeing the teachers, things like that. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Lauren. There we go. So for those of you that you're returning this year, some of this stuff will be review, but for those of you that are new, we just want to kind of give a quick overview of what our program is and is not. So the TOR parent relationship is a relationship that's super important. Your assigned TOR is responsible for guiding you on the journey and answering questions. You should feel supported by your teacher of record. And that's, sorry if you don't know what TOR is, it's your teacher of record. So when you see that, we actually changed it this last year or the year before. So instead of ES, it's now TOR. The TOR does not take the role of the parent, so they're not going to be teaching each day. The primary teacher at home is going to be yourself, the parent or guardian, and parents have the freedom to teach in a way that's going to best work for their student, as long as all the grade level content area standards are being met. So the course of study at the beginning of the school year that your TOR will share with you, just as long as you have curriculum for each of those components that's going to cover the year, then you are good. TORs meet with your student monthly to see all the wonderful work you're doing. This can be intimidating for new parents, but please know that we're not judging you or your student, that this is something that we have to do in order to gather the information and upload it into our system. And we just really enjoy learning what it is that your student is doing. So feel free to admit any struggles you're having. A lot of times there's other families that have had the same struggles, and you're going to be able to get good advice from your teacher of record on maybe ways that they were able to conquer that, or some resources that might, help with that situation or whatever it is that you're working towards. And then they should be providing insight and multiple options for the varying needs of your individual child. So, we're big on individualized curriculum and working for each individual child. So we want to make sure that you're able to meet your child right where they're at. So just know that that's the goal of the teacher of record. They, will give you advice and different resources, and then you as the parent know your child best. So to be able to implement what it is you feel will be helpful or not helpful. Next slide. What do I bring to an LP meeting? So LP meetings are going to be approximately once every 20 school days, which equals about once per month. We do ask that parents try to keep the scheduled LP meetings that they have with their teacher. A lot of the teachers have 25 students that they're meeting with during that LP week, and it can be really hard to reschedule. So unless there's an emergency of some sort, we do ask that you keep to that LP meeting. But basically you're bringing yourself and your student, and then the body of work from the learning period. So, this looks different for each student. You can create a folder or notebook system, bring different workbooks, projects. And the beauty of it is we don't have to collect a hard copy of it. We can take a picture. So if it's something that your child put a lot of work into and they're really proud of it and you want to keep it, so you can put it on your refrigerator or whatever, we can take a picture of that for our samples. So documentation of what was completed for the LP. So we have reflections pages that you can download from the parent resource page or can be given to you by your TOR. You can use it to write down the chapters you covered or any special projects you completed for the month. Or if you give your teacher a table of contents from your curriculum, it can be super easy to just kind of check those off as you come to the meeting, and just tell your teacher that you did lessons, 40 through 55 of math for that LP. And then you don't want to have to write down every last thing that you did for the LP. So it's just super helpful if you do have that table of contents to share with your teacher. Then you don't have to, write everything down. Bring a PE log or a sample for PE. So you don't have to do a log. They can do, like a drawing if it's a young child, and then write a sentence about what they did for a sample. For high school, PE log also has a brief write-up along with it. So you'll want to bring that along with you to your LP meeting. Next slide. All right, parent and guardian responsibilities. So basically, you're responsible for teaching your child each school day, ensuring adequate progress is made toward grade level content standards. So, each child has their own pace that they're going, but we should see, 20 days of work that's completed. Attending all LP meeting dates at a scheduled time. So no rescheduling unless an unforeseen emergency. So we completely understand if a car breaks down or, car accident, heaven forbid. we will work with you with those so we can reschedule the meetings. But we do ask that if it's not an emergency, you're able to keep those meetings. Coming to meetings prepared with the body of work, returning emails and phone calls of school staff promptly. So a lot of times we have emails that go out each week and teachers are just checking on you. We will do that every like Friday or Monday, whatever day that the teacher chooses to do that. If you could just, respond with a got it, or, some type of quick reply. We just want to know that everything's okay, and make sure that, you're still there. Sometimes there's emergencies that happen and people fly out of the country for whatever reason. And so we just want to ensure that, you're still here, everything's okay. Allowing school-wide assessments. Why is this important? Our charter and all charters must be renewed every 5 years. Our authorizing districts will look at the California dashboard. So we must show that we care about each student and that we're working to address any academic needs in order to get our charter renewed. And that's true for any charter. So, and that's why we were able to get the reauthorizations that we got and the new authorizations. Assessments like iReady are extremely helpful for placement and knowing a student's strengths and weaknesses. We actually saw huge growth with some of the students that were struggling. They took the iReady and then did some of those lessons that were targeted towards the areas that they needed to improve. And it was really, really, really neat to see how far those students were able to get. So I highly encourage you to use those lessons if you feel like there was a gap and your students not quite where you want them to be in a certain area. Next slide. All right. So like I said, teacher responsibilities, they should be checking in with you weekly. You should hear from them to ensure that you're doing okay and don't need anything. Again, just respond with just fine or got it if you're doing well and don't need anything. They should be helping to pace the work for the child if need be. If you're not sure how far you should be getting each LP, they can definitely put together a little schedule for you and let you know where you should be. Identifying any gaps in learning that may have been missed by the curriculum. Sending you important information on community events, field trips, school testing, etc. Starting a student success team if the parent and teacher need to brainstorm ways to help a struggling student. So some of you may not know what that is, but basically if your student is really, really struggling and you come to us, you're like, I just don't know what to do. We're going to try to put some interventions in place to try to, and put our minds together as a team to try to get the student where they need to be. Helping you find resources and activities that will enrich your students' learning. So, if you have something you're studying and you want to go visit a museum that goes along with that, you might ask your teacher of record if there's something he or she knows of that will go along with that. Next slide. All right. That's it for me, and I'm introducing Jenny Craig.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about assessments and required state and internal progress monitoring. So I want to share with you that all charter schools, just like Krista was saying, are required to administer the CASP as well as other state mandated assessments such as the LPAC and PFT, which I'll go through in just a minute. Charter schools exist in a performance-based accountability system where they are held accountable for student academic performance. In fact, a charter school cannot continue to exist without collecting data on students' performance on a variety of assessments and indicators. So with that being said, when a charter authorizer is evaluating whether to revoke a school's charter or to grant a school's charter, the charter's renewal petition, increase in pupil academic achievement is actually the most important factor in the decision. So I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about the assessments, and you will be able to read more about this in the Student Parent Handbook. So the first thing I want to go over is the English Language Proficiency Assessment for California. That's the LPAC. This is for students in grades K through 12 who are English learners, which we consider they're called EL. This is just for English learners. There's an initial assessment that we do within the first 30 days of enrollment if we suspect that the student is an English learner. And then there's a summative assessment that all English learners take in the spring, and this is administered by trained staff. Students identified as EL will receive English language development curriculum. That is a special online curriculum. For grades K through 3rd, it will be called Imagine Learning. And 4th through 12th will have what's called ESL Reading Smart, in addition to some supplements that will go along with that. Our TORs will monitor student progress on ELD curriculum, and at each LP meeting, there will be an additional sample collected, which your TORs will be able to explain that to you. There'll be more information with another webinar for our parents of English learners, so we'll be able to give more information to you at a later time, and we'll keep you posted on when that will occur. The next assessment I'd like to go over is the California Assessment of Student Performance in Progress. That's considered the CAST, and that is spring testing. That is grades 3 through 8 and 11. It is computer-based for English language, math, and CAST science. The CAST science is really for grades 5, 8, and whatever is the pre-selected high school grade that the state shares with us. Those will be proctored by Excel Academy TORs and our staff. Physical fitness test, which is considered the PFT, is spring testing. That's given to students in grades 5th, 7th, and 9th, and it's administered by TORs. All of these assessments that I just discussed with you, the PFT, the CAST, and the LPAC, all have practice tests that can be accessed through our website, and which will also be shared with you by our TORs as these assessments get closer. The iReady assessment, which Krista also touched on, is our fall and spring progress monitoring. It's for grades 2 through 11, K and first graders upon request. This will focus on reading and math progress. It's completed by students at home or with TOR support. And this is where the policy, the proctoring policy comes in, not only for iReady, but any assessments that are being done at home, you know, that we want to make sure that the students are doing on their own. And with the iReady, individualized lessons are provided, which I'll share a little bit more about that with you on the next slide. Our kindergarten and first grade students will take paper pencil progress monitoring assessments in the fall and in spring. This is a grade level appropriate benchmark assessment. It's administered at an LP meeting by the teacher of record, and results are provided to parents. So all of these particular progress monitoring, growth monitoring, and assessments will be, the data will be shared with you by your teacher of record. And the iReady, as Krista mentioned, it is very helpful in determining what curriculum will be used for your students and areas of strengths and weaknesses that the teacher of record can provide more additional guidance and support. We can go to the next slide. So what is iReady Progress Monitoring? iReady Progress Monitoring is, like I said, students in grades 2 through 11 take a reading and math progress monitoring assessment in September and March. And if there is a request for students in K1 who would like to participate in iReady in lieu of the paper benchmark assessments, the parents can contact the TOR, and that can be, we can make sure to get a username and password to those students. The data feedback is immediate and shared with parents once the iReady progress monitoring assessments are completed. The diagnostic is helpful in determining the student curriculum, strengths, and weaknesses. And the testing window will begin on September 9th, and students will have 10 school days to complete both progress monitoring pieces, one in reading and one in math. There will actually be a little walkthrough tutorial for all the parents that will be shared by the TOR when school begins. And the TOR will also be sharing with you the usernames and passwords, which I will be sharing with the TORs. I also want to share with you something really exciting and important that we like to focus on here at Excel. It's iReady Incentive Program. So once your students complete the reading and math portion of progress monitoring, personalized lessons are created. And they're not the same for every student. It focuses on the individuality of each student and how they completed those particular progress monitoring pieces. Students performing in 8th grade or below in reading and or math will have the opportunity to complete the iReady individualized lessons. And the lessons are geared to strengthen skills, and improve any learning gaps. And your TOR will be able to provide you additional guidance and support on working with the student on those lessons, being able to troubleshoot with you or adapt any lessons that would be a better fit for your students. The suggested participation is about 45 to 50 minutes per week. So with that being said, it's about 10 minutes a day, just jumping on, doing a couple lessons. And students who are consistently completing lessons and showing their growth and showing their dedication and hard work, at monthly LP meetings, they'll have the opportunity to be honored by their TOR, and they'll also have the opportunity to be honored as a dedication in our monthly newsletter, which is always exciting for the students. We can go to the next slide. And now I'm going to.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
So I'm going to introduce April Zade. She's our intervention and student success lead. So she's going to take over from here, and then I will touch base with everybody when we talk more about field trips and community. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I know this is a lot of information. Like we said before, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box and someone will be there to answer those for you. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So I wanted to introduce myself. My name is April Sade, and I am the intervention coordinator for Excel. So the main roles that I fulfill are listed there on the screen if you're watching via video. If you're on a phone, I'll go ahead and read those to you. So I am the one who runs the WIN program. That stands for What I Need. That is our intervention program school-wide for students who are struggling. Then I'm also the person who runs the Student Success Team meetings, or SST meetings, which Krista briefly talked about in her presentation as well. I also will be the one that is going to be looking at the English language development curriculum that our students are using and collecting data to make sure that our students are progressing, and then providing support if needed. And then I would also be the 504 coordinator for Excel. So if your student has a 504, you will be hearing from me in the fall. If you're a new enrolling student, we will make sure that we have a 504 review meeting in those first 30 days-ish of the school year. And then if you already have a 504 with Excel, then your review dates are individual based on when we had that initial meeting. So I just wanted to give a little bit of my background. My education is listed there. I am really passionate about academic interventions. I consider it my calling in life, and it's something that I love to do. My master's thesis was on academic intervention, and it's just a place where my heart is really set. Then I also do have obviously my teaching credential, a CLAD certificate for our English learners, and I have a BA in education and also BA in music that I don't use for Excel, but I use for myself. And on a personal level, I have a son and a daughter of my own, so I'm in the trenches with you, raising kids and making sure they're being well educated. And I like to play the piano as a way to relieve stress and kind of get away from the day-to-day grind. And true to my Seattle roots, I love coffee. So hopefully you feel like you know me just a little bit better than you did before. Moving on to the WIN program, What I Need is what that stands
you
for.
guys are, today's your first day back, correct?
Oh.
I'm sorry?
Is today your guys' first day back?
No, ma'am. You've reached Capistrano Unified School District's Human Resources Department.
Oh, here.
I think someone needs to mute their phone.
Sorry about that.
Okay, that's okay. All right, so what I need, the WIN program, and what I need, the I, of course, is the student, right? So what the student needs. What it is targeted academic intervention for struggling learners. So we have some progress monitoring to more closely monitor how well they're progressing in the various areas of need. And it does run September through June. We have the WIN intervention group separated into two groups. So there's a math WIN group, and there's also a reading WIN group. So some students are in both the math and the reading WIN group if they're struggling in both of those subjects, and then some are just in one and not the other. So this is probably the biggest question that you all are wondering, or that I get from time to time, and that is why? Why do we have to have the WIN program? And the biggest number one reason, far and above the second, is that just being an educator, it really is our moral imperative to make sure that every student is performing up to his or her full potential, okay? So that does, we all understand that not every student is gonna be right at grade level, of course not, but we do wanna make sure that they are doing the very best that they're capable of doing. And so that is what the WIN program is about, is getting each student there, particularly those that are struggling. Then the second piece behind that would be that the state of California does require every public school to have an MTSS system of support. So that just stands for multi-tiered system of support. We have to have that in place to show that we are supporting our struggling students and to show that we care and that we're doing what we can to help them reach grade level standards. So it's kind of a double reason there on the why. If you want to go ahead and click to that link later or copy that into your browser, that will bring you to the California Department of Ed, where it talks about the requirement of schools to have that multi-tiered system of support in place. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so the big question too is who? So who will be in the WIN program? First of all, as Jenny touched on earlier, who will be in the program is determined by our iReady scores. So in fall and spring, the iReady scores will determine who will be placed into either the WIN 1 or the WIN 2 group of students. The WIN 1 group are students that are roughly 1 year behind grade level, which would mean that this group of students is 1 full year behind grade level. So if your student is half a year, a few months behind, 6, 9 months behind, they would not fall into that category. It's for students that are a whole year behind grade level. And then the WIN 2 students are those that are more than a full year behind. And that is my job, is to make sure that they are well supported and that they're getting access to the curriculum so that they can reach their fullest potential. So the next question is, how do we do that? Because we're spread all over Southern California. So sometimes that makes it pretty tough, but we have a great program in place to help them do that. Number one, we do provide academic interventions for these students that are built to fill in gaps and holes in their learning. That's how each of the interventions that I've chose are very personalized. So the student will be placed at their personal spot of where they are for each of those standards or each of those places. So it's not, I'm not giving you a math book and saying, do this extra math book so that you get better at math. We're going to have math intervention that will place them exactly where they are. So that means if your student's really great at geometry, let's say, then they're going to be probably at grade level standards in the geometry portions of their lessons. But if the computation, you know, the multiplication, division, if that's what slows them down, then this personalized program will have them wherever they actually are able to perform in those categories. So it's great because it's super personalized to exactly where your student is. It is research-based and it's standards-based. Then the other thing is too that it's flexible. So I know that we're all very busy in our lives with various things. And I know that the homeschool world, families are usually out and about doing all kinds of things during the week. And so this will be something flexible that you can do on your own time when it works for you, which is also wonderful. So the second piece to any intervention program is the progress monitoring piece. So this is where we're going to collect data to see how the student is progressing and how they're doing. If they're progressing, that's fantastic. If they're not, we'll keep an eye on them and give them, you know, a couple months. And if they're still struggling, then we want to go to that next tier of support, which would be an SST meeting. And then that would be totally individualized meeting with myself, your teacher of record, and the parent, family, and perhaps some other team members if we felt they needed to be on that meeting as well. And we'll set personalized goals just for your student at that point. You can go ahead and go to the next one. So when it comes to the WIN program, the parent does have your set of responsibilities as part of the program. And the first one is that you want to follow, like both Krista and Jenny touched on, that parent proctoring policy, because we're basing student placement in the WIN program on iReady scores. It's so imperative that they are accurate. So we really want to do our best to get an accurate reading of how our students do through that iReady assessment, which means we want to follow those parent proctoring policy guidelines so that we know that we're getting a gauge of what the student can do through that assessment. Then the next would be that if your student is in the WIN program, it would be important for you to familiarize yourself with the interventions provided. So if your student is in the WIN program, you will be notified of that, and we will have webinars that will train you on the different interventions we're using. And then we always want you to log in and look around and play around to see what's in there so that it's not so overwhelming to yourself. And I would add to that too, don't be afraid to reach out for help if something's confusing or you don't know how to do it. Definitely reach out for your teacher of record, or you can reach out to myself directly too. And then the other, and this is probably maybe the second most important, is to make those WIN interventions a part of your daily and weekly learning plan. So when you signed your agreement of responsibilities, that was in that agreement of responsibilities that parents are required to have their students participate in the WIN interventions. So we want to make sure that when you get the intervention that you're being provided with, or interventions, that you make that part of their regular daily and weekly learning plan. There's a lot of flexibility in that. You could do 15 minutes Monday through Friday. You could choose to do a half an hour 3 days a week. There's many different ways you can do it, and you can work with your teacher of record too, because they'll know personally what your schedule is like and different things you have going on to help you figure out how to fit it in. And the next thing that I really want to highlight is to understand that it's intervention. So it is a support. We are here to support you and your student to help them learn to their highest potential. So if there are questions, if there's a way that I can support you and your family with the interventions we're providing, I want to do that wholeheartedly and genuinely. And there are, many stories from last year with our students that did use Read Naturally, for example, on a regular basis, and they had tremendous success with that. I mean, we had students that were growing 1.5 years or 2 years in their reading fluency and comprehension by using Read Naturally for 6 to 7 months. So these strategies we're giving you, I didn't just pull one out of a hat. I spent a lot of time researching various options, trying to figure out what I felt was the best fit for our students. And that's really going to give us some improvement. I don't want to waste your time either, and I don't want to waste mine. So we picked ones that are really top notch, that really will show growth for your kiddos. So know that we're here to support you. You can kind of see the tier of support there with that graphic on the screen, that the student and parent work together, and then you reach out to the teacher of record, and then you reach out to me beyond that. So in closing, I just want to let you know I'm very excited to see that our students will achieve well beyond what they even thought was possible with this intervention system in place to support them. Thank you so much.
Hello all, thank you so much for joining us today. Let me know if my levels sound good and if you can hear me. My name is Kri. I'm with the Student Services Department. I manage our department. I just wanted to kind of go over some of our ordering materials and classes, guidelines, and procedures. A lot of these guidelines and procedures are on our website, so I'm going to just kind of go over this briefly. First thing that you should know about funds is that instructional funds come from the state of California, and they are governed by the same rules as your neighborhood school. And what this means is that we have to abide by the same rules that brick and mortar schools, that public brick and mortar schools do with regard to funds. We try to maintain the highest standards of financial accountability, and we make sure that everything that we're ordering is according to state guidelines. The difference between us and your neighborhood school, however, is that we're able to order materials that are individualized for the student. So we pride ourselves on providing our families with the flexibility and the high academic standards to ensure that their students achieve, and that they are also learning in the styles that are best for them. Now, when you order materials, you have to know that they are the property of Excel Academy Charter School, and they have to be returned upon withdrawal. All of these materials and vendor classes must be non-sectarian in nature, which means that we can't order any religious materials or courses. We have many resources on our website, including our ordering guidelines. The family vendor agreement will also be provided to you if it has not been already by your teacher of record. And so be sure to check on our website under the vendors section. On our website, we have ordering guidelines, parent purchase order training, ordering videos that I have created, parent FAQs, really anything that you could need to answer your questions with regard to ordering materials and courses is going to be on our website underneath the vendors tab. If you have problems locating that, you can always ask your teacher to provide you with that information. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So very briefly, the ordering process goes like this. You are going to begin by looking at the available vendors and or the available vendors and materials and or classes. This list is again available on our website. If you have already received your login to our online purchasing system, then you'll be able to log in and look at the vendor list there. Your teacher will also be able to provide you, if you don't have an idea of what exactly to order, of the materials that are available to you and the vendors that are in your area. We do have a vendor map that is on our website. You'll be able to look at that vendor map and see the different vendors who are close to your home, and that may give you a good idea of the vendors to check out. Now, once you do choose a class, the instructor of that class has to be contacted before placing the order. We don't correspond directly with the vendors before you are placing the order, so that is your responsibility to reach out to the vendors and make sure that they have room in the class for your students. We cannot pay for registration fees because there's no actual learning being paid directly by those fees. So any materials or service vendors that we're paying for, there has to be an actual learning that's being done as a result of those funds being paid to those vendors. The parent is going to use the OPS login, which either you have received from me directly or you will receive from your teacher of record. That is going to be emailed to you directly, and you'll receive a link to place those orders into the system. Now, when you are placing an order, you have to make sure that you look over the item numbers, the descriptions, the months to make sure that everything is correct. Then you will place those orders into the system. Please be aware that classes have to be submitted, so orders for service vendors have to be submitted 10 days prior to the date of the class starting. Your teacher of record will double check for any errors in your order, and then they will send it along to our department for processing. So just be aware that any errors in the orders that you place are going to hold up your students receiving the materials or the services. So your teachers are going through 25 different student orders and they depend on you to carefully place the order to ensure that they can just send it on through to our department. So once the orders are submitted by the teacher of record, they come to our department, we process it, and then the vendor is alerted to the order being placed. All of the items will be shipped directly to your teacher of record's residence, and then your teacher of record will send you that order. Next, we're going to go on to the parent OPS screen. So this is what you will see when you log in. At the top there, you'll see that you're able to search for a student, order, or vendor. And under purchasing, you will be able to enter a purchase order request for your student. So pretty simple there. One last thing that you'll be aware of is on the right-hand side, you can see that you can change your password. Next slide. So once you click on the purchasing tab, you will be able to see at the top there the name of the student and the current available balance. If you have multiple students, you can click on that drop-down menu and select the second, your other student that you would like to place the purchase order for. In available funds, you'll see the remaining balance and the amount in orders that have already been placed. So the pending, that means that those are orders that have already been placed, but may not have been invoiced for by the vendor yet. Some important terms here, EMR vendors are vendors that you will be using to purchase materials from. Service vendors, we refer to those as VCI. The bottom four there, we do not use, so you don't have to worry about those. You'll be able to find your vendor using the drop-down lists that are listed next to the type of vendor. And then you'll indicate the number of items being ordered and then press request. So after you press request, there will be a pop-up window that opens up. You'll be able to enter the details of the order, and then you'll hit add to request. And after that, you will then press on finalize. You will press on proceed to checkout. So that's a little bit. I do have a detailed step-by-step process of this order process on our website. So you can just click through that, and we can go to the next slide. If you have questions about vendors or orders, you can make sure that you ask your teacher of record first. You can also look on our website, as I've been saying, to see the materials that are available there. It looks like we have one question. I'll just answer this question right off the bat. If a vendor is not listed, yes, you can ask your teacher to get that vendor added. Your teacher of record will begin that process. Any other questions that we have, Carrie and I can answer in the chat. Otherwise, we can go on to the next slide.
Thanks, Cree. So this is Lauren. I'm back again. I'm going to talk a little bit about Parent Square, which is a new thing that we're adding to Excel this year that we're very excited about. A lot of public schools use this currently, and it's just a great way for us to communicate with you and vice versa. So the main features of Parent Square. So it is a one central tool for our school to communicate to you. Our newsletters, any school-wide announcements will all go to this site called Parent Square. It kind of looks like, the feed kind of looks like a Facebook feed. So it has kind of all the general announcements and everything just kind of on that screen that you can just scroll down and see the previous posts that we have made, previous newsletters, etc. It's very parent friendly, it's very user friendly, it's very easy to read and to navigate as well. It's very easy. Our teachers are going to be using Parent Square to set up the learning period meetings or learning period conferences with you. So they'll have sign up slots that they'll put on there that you can sign up for, and it'll also send automatic reminders to you of when your learning period conference is. So it's a very easy way for our teachers to kind of have that all in one place as well, and to send up automatic reminders. This Parent Square is also available on the iOS and Android, so you can download the app and you can use it from there. That way you don't have to log onto your laptop when you want to use it. It'll be in the palm of your hand as well. All of our teachers have this app as well, so you can see any messages you get, any posts that have been sent out, any alerts, anything like that. This will also be the place where you will sign your immediate release waivers. There's a form access on here that we'll be using. So anytime you go on a field trip or any event that pictures or video might be taken, this is where you can submit like, yes, I'm okay with my child's picture being taken, or no, I would rather not. So that our teachers can look at that and they can type in the name and see, okay, well, John's student would not like his picture to be taken. So they can make sure that that doesn't happen and that doesn't get posted. With Parent Square, you're also able to set up how you would like to receive notifications. So if your teacher were to send you a private message on Parent Square, it would come to that Parent Square app, but as well, you can also set up a notification to send to your email as a text or a push notification. So if your teacher sends you a message via Parent Square, you can get an alert like as a text on your phone, and you'll be able to respond to your teacher through that text as well, or through email if you sign up for that notification as well, so that you don't have to log on to the site every single time you want to talk to them. It's very easy to communicate back and forth depending on how you choose to communicate. Another great feature of Parent Square is that it translates into over 100 different languages with real-time translation. So if your teacher is messaging you and say you speak Spanish natively, they'll type in their question, say in English, and it'll come to you in Spanish automatically. And then you'll respond in Spanish and it'll come to them in English automatically. So it's a great way to communicate based on how you best learn how you like to communicate as well. So this Parent Square is going to be, we're going to run that out this next week or so. You're going to get an invite activation link, which is very simple. all you'll have to do is create a password, and it'll show you how to set it up. There are tons of videos and instructions on how to get started, how to navigate. The people who work at Parent Square are very, very helpful and answer questions very quickly. There's a little question mark at the top of the Parent Square site that allows you to watch any videos or read any articles or ask any questions that you may have. Your teacher will also be able to show you how to set it up and kind of go over this with you at your first learning period meeting as well. So that is Parent Square.
Hi, my name is Carrie Schneeweiss, and I am the Assistant Director of Student Services. And I work with the Education Department, the Enrollment and Admissions Department, the Vendor Department, the High School Department, and the Assessment Department. So I'm going to cover for you guys today our system that the teachers work in is called School Pathways, and that's where we have all of your information, where their classes, transcripts, report cards, work permits, all the information that is needed for them to be enrolled with our school. Here, there is a parent portal within the system where you will be able to join and see information specific to your student. You will be able to, at the top you see where it says activity logs. There are learning logs or activity logs in there that you can use during your learning period. There's music logs, reading logs, PE logs, activity logs that you can have, you can use towards your samples. You can have your student write things down. It's used on different, for different reasons. Once report cards are completed, you will be able to see your report cards here. So you will not see anything in there until mid to late January, and then again in June. The CASP results from the state testing that we do will be also placed in this area. Right now, the state is still logging all of that information into each student's account, so that may not be there right now, but we're hopeful in the next couple weeks that will be there. In the resource section, we're going to put links to all the school-wide subscriptions. So if you click on resources there, you'll be able to find all of the subscriptions that we offer to our students. If your student needs a work permit, there is a link there and you can download the work permit. And there is a entertainment permit there as well that you can download, fill out, and you would send that to Melissa. The HTC form that Lauren spoke about earlier that you can log in and fill out online, that is the bottom area right there that says household data collection. And that is where you can do it independently on your own. You fill out the form, you submit it, and it stays confidential. Below that says transcripts credit summary. Now this is going to be different if you have a student in elementary school, middle school, or high school. High school is the most important one that you will see. And that is where you have 220 credits to graduate. So for this example, you can see that this student has 95 credits earned towards their 220 for graduation. The elementary shows 300 credits and the middle school shows 180. That's a little insignificant in terms of graduation, but that just goes along with their classes that they take at those levels. And then at the very top, you can see there is a link to Parent Square. So what Lauren just covered, if you log into your parent portal and now you want to go over to the Parent Square area that has all of the school-wide newsletters and information, you'll be able to click that link right there and it'll directly take you in there. On the resource page, we will also add a link to OPS, which is the ordering system. So if you log into your parent portal, all of these areas that are supposed to be support systems for you will be in one place. And I think that is it about the School Pathways. We will be sending this out with your login information with Parent Square at the same time, probably within a week, probably by the end of next week. We just want to make sure it's all running smoothly, and we will send that out in one notification to you.
All right, this is Krista again. So I'm sure many of you have heard about the California Healthy Youth Act. It's a new bill that was passed in California that requires a comprehensive sexual education and STD prevention course for students in junior high and high school. So which students does this apply to? At Excel Academy, students in 8th and 10th grade are going to be the grades that it will affect, and then also 11th or 12th graders who have not taken the course prior, either with a different school or with ourselves. Both middle school and high school students will have the opportunity to meet with the health teacher online once per week. So we have a teacher that can be holding the office hours once a week and answer questions. Middle school course differs from the high school course, so it's different material, but led by the same health teacher. The Comprehensive Sexual Health and STD Prevention course can be taken for 5 credits in high school only, so junior hires can't get 5 credits, but if you have a student that hasn't taken health previously and would like to receive 5 credits for that, that is definitely doable. We have it in both the fall and the spring, so if they can't fit it into their schedule for the fall, they can definitely do it in the spring. Parents can sign their student up for either middle school or high school courses by filling out the CHIA Health Course Survey that was sent out by the high school department via email on August 1st. So look for that from Jen Sanchez. And then parents can opt out by sending a written, signed, and dated note to their teacher of record. So if you don't want your child to participate in the California Healthy Youth Act health course, you can go ahead and just send that to your teacher of record, but it needs to be signed and it needs to have the student name that you're opting out and dated. And then we're using Positive Prevention Plus for our curriculum, and your teacher of record should have sent you something sending you to that webpage if you wanted to look at the curriculum beforehand.
Hi, I'm Jen Sanchez, and I'm the high school coordinator. And I have a few slides to discuss with you. The first one is important high school reminders. So just to remember, students have 10 days to add, change, or drop a course within the first learning period. After that, students will receive a W on their report card transcript, plus possible loss of instructional funds. So we really want to make sure that students within a few days, hopefully, will know if they are enjoying the course, if this is the right level for them. We don't want to see W's on their report cards. We definitely don't want to see F's on their report cards, which can happen if they wait too long, after learning period 2. So we definitely want to drop or change that course within the first 10 days. Also, we want to remind you to make sure to have all of your courses in place by this Friday, or encourage you to have all the courses in place by this Friday. It'll just help with ordering and less stress on your parts. Any course not found on the high school course catalog must be submitted for approval to the high school department. So we do have an extensive course catalog, I'm sure you guys have seen, that have 7th through 12th graders. But if for some reason there's a course that you would like that's not on there, definitely let your teacher of record, your TOR, know, and they will do the appropriate process and get that to me. Big reminder, if you haven't met with the school counselor, go ahead and sign up for a guidance meeting with Melissa Odell, and the link is below, and you will have access to this afterwards, so you'll be able to click on it and make an appointment. The link was also in the newsletter that went out, and we'll continue to put that in the newsletter. So go ahead and do that with Melissa. Okay, I have sent out, the high school department has sent out many new course options, and one that we are very excited about, or a couple actually, are the high school CTE, Career and Technical Education courses. We have 2 new introductory elective career courses. We have Child Development and Entrepreneurship, both introductory. Many people have already signed up for it. There are a few spots left, so I encourage you to email me or let your teacher of record know if you are interested in either of these courses for your student, they are high school courses, so only 9th through 12th grade. Just email me to begin a pathway toward an exciting career. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was a new career and technical education vendor. We've actually partnered with Brighton College. This is a virtual college offering technical education courses in various pathways, and they are offering our students discounts on these virtual courses in many pathways. So we are putting a link to the prices and the courses that students can take. Normally students take these courses in 11th and 12th grade with the Brighton College, but some have a few more courses, so you would start in 10th grade for those. Next slide, please. Okay, so our A to G course options, for those that do not know what A to G is basically just a sequence of courses deemed college prep by the University of California. So the UC schools and the Cal State schools would like to see students taking these college prep courses, otherwise known as A to G. And Excel is very excited that we have our own virtual teachers, to teach these virtual courses, A to G courses. So option A is with one of our teachers teaching a weekly virtual course, and we are using Comprehend Curriculum, which is a very student and teacher friendly curriculum that's A to G approved and very inexpensive. So for option A, you are simply paying for the curriculum. You are not paying for the course. So you can see our price sheet on our catalog, and other places. You can also talk to your teacher of record if you have any questions on that. Option B is following our Excel A to G approved syllabi, utilizing hybrid oversight. And that just means that your student is taking a course with a local vendor their syllabi has been approved. It's aligning with ours. So your student's going to follow that and meet weekly with one of our highly qualified teachers to ensure they are getting that A to G designation. And so you would be responsible for paying for the curriculum as well as any vendor courses, whatever they charge. Our third option for A to G courses are standalone vendors that offer their own transcript, and those two that we have chosen, backed by popularity, is BYU Independent Study and Odyssey Ware Academy. So you can order those, and the classes, we do have the list in our catalog that tells you which ones are A to G. Most of them are, but just make sure that the one that you are choosing is on our list. And again, see your teacher of record for pricing and ordering details and options. Next slide. And that was it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Jenny Craig again. I'm going to speak with you about field trips and community events, which are definitely exciting topics. We can go to the next slide. I want to share with you that our community department continues to work diligently to provide our students and families the greatest opportunities to participate in and
Jenny, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
No, we can't. I can hear you sound like you're in a tunnel.
Okay, I'm not doing anything differently than before. Could you hear me before?
Before we did, but it's really hard to hear. I can cover this for you if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I will cover. This is Carrie Schneeweiss, and I work alongside Jenny, so I will cover this for you. This is our field trips and community events, and this department has worked really hard to present a lot of opportunities for you where you get to meet other people that are homeschooling and just get to know different TORs and hopefully make some connections with our unique Excel families. Our idea is because we are so widespread, we're hoping to make little small Excel schools almost where you guys feel that you are intertwined with each other. You will be receiving monthly newsletters, and these will be sent the first week of each month. You should have all received from your teacher of record the signups for the September and October field trips. Those are underway, and you can go ahead and sign up for those. Soon you will be receiving the release of additional field trips scheduled for the months of November and December. You can visit the website at excelacademy.education to register for each field trip. No refunds will be given once the field trips are closed, and you can reference the policies on this in our student and parent handbook. If you have any questions regarding a specific field trip or field trips in general or a community event, talk directly with your TOR, and they will either already know the answer. If they don't know the answer, they will come to Jenny or Caston, who work in our community department. Some highlights for the 1920 school year is we are having our back to school events. All of those will be on Monday, the 26th, although we do have one up in the LA area on the September 7th. We will have a plethora of educational field trips in all regions. We will have regional vendor events, which are where we hold events at a vendor that we already have a relationship with, and the attempt for you to just see what else is out there and hopefully find a new passion for your student. We will have monthly park days. We are going to have an overnight camp trip to Pali for students in grades 5 through 8. We did that last year. It was a wonderful success, and we are excited to grow that event this year. And we will be also doing an overnight camp to Sacramento for students in grades 9 through 12. This is our first year doing the trip to Sacramento, so we are very excited for that. We will be having a spelling bee, a geography bee, a science fair, and then we will have end of the year celebrations. I do want to mention at the back to school events, we will have teachers will be able to bring some curriculum, and you can exchange that as well. This is the back to school event. This is Monday, the main one. We have one main one here in Orange County, which is Monday, August 26th from 10 to 1 at Brookhurst Community Center. But we also have, I think the next slide shows it, Lauren. Yes, so you'll see that we have on September 7th up in Pasadena, we have another back to school barbecue and children's concert. We have in Manhattan Beach on Monday, August 26th, 10 to 2 at Pollywog Park. On Monday the 26th, we also have one in Encinitas. And then on the 26th, we have one in Riverside. So we really did try and reach out to all the areas where our families are located, and hope that we see all of you there. So we're going to open it up for questions now. If you want to, I see some questions going on in the chat box. You see Jenny there. Yes, so Pali will be only in the fall this year. It is only offered in October, and then the Sacramento trip will be in the spring for our high school students. Jenny, I'm not sure can you talk? I'm not sure if we can hear you, or can you type in your response? If an event is not closed, but a parent wants to cancel a field trip, what would be the process for a refund? And in the event that there is a needed refund, you will contact your TOR. So if you have signed up for something, realize it doesn't work in your schedule, go ahead and contact your TOR. They will contact Jenny and Caston in our community department, and they will fix that for you. Cree, can you speak to the subscriptions that we were going to be offering this year?
Yes, I can. We do have several school-wide subscriptions that we're offering our families. I'll just kind of go through them in a list. So the first that we have is MobyMax, which is a K through 8 subscription for our entire school. It offers standard-based lessons in all subject matters, all main subject matters. And there's also Spanish lessons available for ELL. So we do have detailed instructions on how your teachers are going to add students to MobyMax. So if you are interested in having your students in MobyMax, we will have that available for all students. Just contact your teacher for information on how to get into that system. The next one that we offer is BrainPop. Your teachers will also be adding your students to the system. This is supplemental online learning in all subject areas. This is only for younger children, I believe, from K through third. And if I didn't mention it, but MobyMax is also only for K through 8. So that's not for high school students. Next one that we have is Enchanted Learning. Enchanted Learning is it offers searchable worksheets related to most topics of interest. There's a single school-wide login, so you'll just log on to Enchanted Learning, and there's a lot of different worksheets that you can use. Similarly, Super Teacher worksheets K through 6. That is the sort of the same thing. Worksheets for everything from phonics to social studies. Mystery Science is another one that we have. This is an NGS aligned and Common Core hands-on program that leads students in science and engineering progress. They have short videos and discussion questions that are available for your students. Next is Starfall. Starfall is for TK through 3rd grade. It is sort of a reading, language arts, and mathematics program. They emphasize phonemic awareness, systematic sequential phonics, and common sight words in conjunction with audio-visual interactivity, and it's proven effective in teaching emergent readers. Last one we offer is a subscription to study.com. These are online courses for students in all subjects. We do have a single school login. You can create profiles for your students and then access those courses. So let me see. It looks like people are saying BrainPop. I do believe, yeah, it's K through 8. I think that that Jen is correct there. MobyMax, Parent Control. Or is it covered? I believe that all subjects are freely accessible to the students. It is K through 8.
Cree, can I just jump in? This is April. I'm the intervention coordinator. As far as the interventions that we are offering primarily for our WIN students, you're going to receive information on that. Once we get those scores back and once those WIN groups are determined, you'll see it, you will receive information, and another webinar will happen just for our WIN families so that you'll get detailed information on that. I did want to speak, I did see a question about YUP. I'm actually in the process of working something out with YUP. I just sent an email saying, can you get back to me on this? So we're in the process of working that out right now, and I'll be able to give that information with the WIN information as well, okay? Thank you.
Okay, we're going to stay on. This is Heidi Gaska, again, your executive director, and we are thrilled to have provided this webinar today. We are going to post it on our website, as well as every TOR will have a copy of it, and we're going to encourage the TORs to send this to all their families. And we also, as I mentioned, it's going to be posted on the website, but we will stay on. The administration can stay on and be available for any questions. We're happy to answer them. Thank you all for taking time out of your day to join us on this webinar. I feel that it was very helpful, and we are thrilled to start a fabulous school year. There's the link of where it will be posted, and we are very, very excited to welcome you all to Excel Academy. Have a wonderful rest of your day.